Welcome to this video. We are going to focus on discussing how we can use Power BI user interface. So to start with it, I'm going to introduce to you to these two panels in Power BI desktop, which is this left hand side panel here and this right hand side panel here. Okay, so in Power BI desktop, you can see from this left hand side panel, there are three icons. So the first icon is what we call as report view icon. The second icon is what we call as table view icon, and the third one is model view. So right now I am in this report view icon. So in this report view, we can see that on our right hand side panel, we have these two panes available. Okay, so we have this visualization pane and we have this data pane. So for our example, I have this sample data and you can get this sample data from the video description below. So based from this sample data, we have these 6 tables available. So the tables that we have in our data will be listed in this data pane. Okay, so if you expand a single table, for example, to expand a single table, you can click on this arrow icon beside the table name to expand it. And once it has expanded, you can see all the columns available in that table. Okay, so depending on the selected table, you can see there are different numbers of columns available. Okay, so that is how you can use this data pane. The second one from our right hand side panel is this visualization pane. So if you want to create report elements, you will mainly use this visualization pane. So from here, you can see by default, you will have access to all these chart elements. Okay, you will have access to all these elements. So the first row is where you can build your column or bar chart. There are generally three kinds of column or bar chart. Okay, for example, the first type is what we call as a stacked. Okay, stacked bar or stacked column chart. The second category is what we call as a clustered. Okay, we have this clustered bar chart and we have this clustered column chart. And the third category for this kind of visualization is what we call as a 100% stacked bar or 100% stacked column chart. Okay, the second row is what we can create similar to line chart. Okay, the first one is line chart, and then the second one of this second row is area chart, and we have also stacked area chart, and the ones beside it is what we call in Excel as combo chart. Okay, you can also create a combo chart in Power BI. The name is line and stack column chart or line and clustered column chart. Okay, but it is very similar to what we call as combo chart in Excel. Okay, and the last one in this second row, it is additional in Power BI. Okay, it is not similar to Excel. We have this ribbon chart. Okay, so as you can see, there are several elements that are similar to Excel and some others are unique to Power BI. Okay, so you can hover your mouse on any icon in this visualization pane to see the type or the name of the element. Okay, so those are the two most important panes in this report view mode. Okay, now let's take a look at the second mode here, table view. So in table view mode, this mode will give access to you to directly view your data. Okay, depending on the selected table, of course. So for example, if I click on this table, geo table from the data pane, we can see the data inside that table. Okay, for example, in this table, we have 5 columns and the total number of data is shown down here. Okay, so if you go to this down side here, this status bar area down here, you can see the total number of data available in this table, which is 39,948 rows of data. Okay, so depending on the type or on the selected table, you can see there are different number of data available in that particular table. Okay, so right now, As you can see in this sample, this product table, we have a total number of 7 columns. Out of 7 columns, we have these 3 columns here. Okay, these 3 columns now is having this icon. Okay, so this icon means we will not be able to see these columns in our report view mode. Okay, so that's what I want to demonstrate right now. So remember that I am selecting this product table, and now I'm going back to my report view mode. So in my report view mode, if I expand my product table, I cannot see the 3 columns that I have highlighted just now. Okay, so what does this icon means? This icon means we are going to hide this column. Okay, so for example, if I want to show my product ID, what I can do is I can expand my product table from this data pane, and I can choose to show my product ID. Okay, so to show it, I can remove this tick mark from this option. Okay, to remove it, I can click on this option here. So now I can no longer see the icon from this product ID column. And if I go back to my report view, this column will be visible and selectable for our visual building activities later. Okay, but I'm not going to have this column available for us to create the visual. So I'm going to hide it again. So to hide this column, what we can do is we are going to use the similar approach. Except that now we can see directly there is an icon whenever we hover our mouse on a certain column, and we can directly click on that icon to hide it. Okay, so that's what we can do, the basic things that we can do in this table view mode. So now let's go to our model view mode. So in model view, you can see this is the data model that I have created in this sample data. So to create this data model is out of this video series scope. I'm going to build a dedicated video series just for data modeling activity, because we have a lot of activities related to data modeling, and this video series is just to focus on report building only. Okay, so in this data model, let me introduce to you the most basic concepts of data model. So in data model, we have multiple tables, and between the tables, we have all these lines. So these lines is what we call as a table relationships. Okay, so you can view all the table relationships by clicking on this manage relationships button from the home ribbon, and it will list out for you all the relationships currently defined in our data model. And by using this, you can also choose to activate or deactivate any table relationship. Okay, but again, it is not in this scope. Okay, so I'm going to just close this. So now, based on the table relationships, if you move your mouse cursor on any table relationships line, you can see there are 2 columns highlighted. Okay, so for example here, if I hover my mouse on this line, I can see there are 2 columns highlighted: manufacturer ID from manufacturer table and manufacturer ID from sentiment table. So between these 2 columns, you can see there are 2 icons. So the first one is icon number 1, and the second one is icon with this star shape. Okay, so what does it mean? So it means that from manufacturer table, a single manufacturer ID is connected to multiple manufacturer IDs in sentiment table. Okay, so that is what we call as a one to many relationship. Okay, so those are the 2 icons that you need to know, okay, when you want to read these table relationships. Okay, the next one is this icon. Okay, this arrow icon meaning when we want to filter our data letter in our report view, the filtering flow works like this. Okay, the filtering flow will start from manufacturer table and then it will go towards this direction, downwards. It will go towards this sentiment table. Okay, that's how the filtering data flows. So that is why if you see this data model, I built this data model purposely arranging the top part here, any table that is having this one relationship, and the bottom part of my data model here, I arrange it so that it is having this many relationship. Okay, so that's how I arrange this data model. So the main purpose is for me to clearly see which table is going to be used as my filtering criteria in my report letter. Okay, so it depends on personal preference. If you want to build your data model according to my understanding here, go ahead. But if you want to build your data model without having any specific arrangement, you can also do that. It will not affect anything in your reporting activities later. But you just need to make sure the relationship is correct. Okay, which table is having one criteria, which table is having many criteria, and the direction should also be correct. Okay, so now let's go back to our report view. So in this report view, as I mentioned, there are two panes available on our right hand side panel, and at any time if you want to hide any panes, you can just click on its name and it will collapse itself, and you will see a larger working space in the middle. So in this middle area here is what we call as our report canvas. So this report canvas, by default, it will give us in a widescreen ratio, 16:9 ratio. Okay, by default. Okay, if you want to make it smaller or you want to make it larger, you can go to this visualization pane, and from here you can see there are two icons available. The first one is what we call as a build visual. So this is the first icon, build visual, where I have explained to you these are all the elements icon. Okay, the second icon available here is to format your page. Okay, so you can click on this icon to change your canvas settings. Okay, for example, we can use it to give a new name to our report page. Okay, for example, I'm going to rename it as main page. Okay, you can type it directly in this field and press enter on your keyboard, and it will change our report page tab name. Okay, just now it is showing as page 1. Now I have changed it into main page. Okay, so that's how you can use this page information, and we are going to discuss later on how we can use it as a tooltip. Okay, the next one is our canvas settings. So in this canvas settings, you can change the ratio, the size of the canvas. And as I mentioned, by default, it is using 16:9 ratio. You can also change it to any size as you want by using this custom option and change the height value or the width value according to your own preference. Okay, by default, I'm just going to use it as 16:9 ratio, widescreen ratio. Okay, and then the third one is where we can change our canvas background. Okay, in the next video, I'm going to discuss on the most commonly used method to create our canvas background. I will show you the simplest method, okay, to create this canvas background. But for this video, just know that this is the setting that we can use to change our canvas background. Okay, so those are the most commonly used settings in this format page: page information, canvas settings, and canvas background. Okay, so that's the end of this video, and we're going to continue in the next video on how we want to customize our canvas background.